how do I actually go about scaling without working more hours, right? What is actually going to be the system behind that? So see, there are two ways to actually go about scaling an agency, right? Now you could actually do two things. The first thing is, which everybody knows, is hire, right? If you look at any successful company, I think I was watching the interview of what is this company, Shabang, which apparently is one of the biggest marketing agencies in this country. I think they have like thousands of employees, right? You can go to LinkedIn. They claim that they do 100, 200, 300 cr in revenue, right? But they have thousands of employees to do that, right? And I heard in a podcast, I think their profit is 10 to 20 cr, right? That's what the founder said in one of the videos. I could be wrong. Again, this is just like information I picked up from YouTube, just like you. But point is that this is apparently what they are doing. Now the question is, if you want to actually scale your business, you will of course need people, and then you will of course need management skills to be able to manage all these people, and of course for that you will need money, because these people would be very expensive, and then of course you would need systems. Okay, now you can of course do this, and this is great, by the way. A lot of companies scale this way and have built into billion-dollar fortunes as well. Like look at McKinsey, look at Boston Consulting Group, look at KPMG, look at Deloitte. This is what they do. They scale because ultimately what they're doing is they're transferring money for labor, right? Which is like you're giving skilled employees or individuals to an organization, and that's what you're trading, right? And whatever the arbitrage is in between, this is basically your profit. Okay, so this is what an agency business is. Now you can do this, but the issue is if you completely rely on this process only, your profit margin will be very less. Like, what is the point of doing hundreds and thousands of crores of revenue if you're just taking home this much? There are a lot smaller companies that I know that make more profit than this. And it's just a lot better to actually operate that than to be able to do this. Now, I'm not saying don't hire people. Of course, you need to, otherwise, you will not be able to scale. But then, a much more effective process that I personally like also is how you can go about creating systems where you are not so heavily dependent just on employees, but you're sort of also teaching your customers and sort of like getting them to do a lot of work on your behalf. So for example, here at UAbility, let's suppose when it comes to there are like various kind of things that we help people out with. For example, we help them out with their business model, we help them out with their sales script, we help them out with their marketing, right? Now what we can do is a lot of things, like we have like a hybrid. Some things we do for the customer, some things that the customer does himself. Now what are the activities which in my business are supposed to be done by the customer? Well, think about this: creating the business model. Now, would I be in a position to actually tell a business owner that this is the target market you should go with? Probably not, because that particular person knows about their company, their industry, and their target audience a lot better than I do. And that's why doing this on their behalf probably won't be the most sensible idea. That's why we make the client do all this. Okay. Now, when it comes to, let's suppose, sales script creation, that is something that, of course, we can help out with. But executing the call, like, can we do thousands and thousands of calls for our customers? No, then we'll be running a call center, right? So this part we do. Similarly, for business model strategizing, what we do, but the execution, the client does, right? Similarly, for marketing, like, can we actually deploy the marketing funnel? We have, like, can we actually have all the templates all done for them, the system done for them, the CRM done for them, the exact messaging, the exact script, the exact emails? Absolutely, we have all of that done for them. But putting it all together, right, so that the customer can actually hit the launch button and start getting those leads, and then controlling the actions that happen after that, that is the responsibility of the customer, right? So what we are doing is we are basically dividing the work where 50% of the execution is done by you and 50% of the execution is done by the client. And as a result of this, there's this harmonious balance which allows you to create this hybrid kind of service which becomes really awesome to scale and a lot more linear, and of course allows you to have exponential growth. And this way you are not losing personal touch, you are not actually increasing your complexity by hiring employees after employees, and you are basically giving your client the opportunity to self learn as well, which honestly it's going to be better for them in the long term, because the retention rate of agencies you might think is great, but it's honestly not. Because once somebody realizes that, hey man, I can actually do all this by myself and I actually have people underneath me who I can hire, who can learn this and then do it and execute it on my behalf, that is what a lot of people do. In fact, this is what exactly Alex Hormozy also did. He first hired an agency, learned YouTube and whatnot, and got all that executed. Found a guy, Caleb, who was, I think, Gary Vee's ex-employee, learned all that stuff, and now he has his own in-house team. And look at any agency that has been there. Like, no client stays with them forever. I mean, maybe few do, right? But like ultimately, this is the exit game that they want to actually go with. And that's why a lot of successful agencies that I know are now going into this model where they are actually focused on making the customer much more self-sufficient, because they understand that the customer would be better off. And if you're truly customer obsessed, you would also realize the customer would be better off if they are self-sufficient in the long term. So why not actually get the customer to that position so that you can actually do that successfully and help them achieve that exit, right? So this is what I think, and this is how I think agencies would scale to the next level. And this also allows you to actually have more inflow of clients, because now you'll be able to manage a lot more people without actually scaling to thousands and thousands of people and not making the kind of profit margins that you make, right? So find like a harmonious balance and create like a hybrid system. That is what will be beneficial for you.